At Argentina Crime Files, every story confronts us with a justice that leaves more questions than answers. On September 8, 1990, in Catamarca, 17-year-old María Soledad Morales disappeared after attending a party with young men linked to the local political elite. 2 days later, her body was found in a vacant lot. It was unrecognizable. Her face was disfigured. Her body bore signs of extreme violence. This was no accident. It was a brutal crime. And the worst was yet to come. In the 1990s, Catamarca was a political stronghold ruled by the Saudi family. There was no separation of powers, just a network of corruption where politics, the judiciary, and the police operated under the same command. In this context, María Soledad's murder exposed the level of impunity enjoyed by those in power. The accused were not ordinary citizens. Guillermo Luque, the son of a national deputy, and Luis Tula, a man with strong political connections, were protected from the start. The media and judicial system shielded them. They attempted to shift the focus by insinuating that María Soledad had willingly been with them, as if that somehow justified the brutality of her murder. Once again, the victim was the one being blamed. The first hours of the investigation set the tone for the cover-up. The police manipulated evidence, key witnesses were intimidated, and testimonies disappeared. The strategy was clear: let the case grow cold until it faded into the judicial bureaucracy. But this time, impunity couldn't hide behind a closed case file. What began as just another crime in a system built to protect the powerful quickly turned into a wave of outrage. María Soledad's family and sister Martha Poloni led the Marches of Silence, a massive protest that spread beyond Catamarca and became a national outcry. Thousands of people marched with candles in complete silence, a chilling image that symbolized a society tired of watching justice bend to power. The public pressure was so intense that the national government had no choice. It intervened in the province and dismantled the Saudi family's structure of impunity. Their political downfall was imminent, but justice still resisted. What followed was a trial riddled with delays, appeals, and legal maneuvers designed to protect the accused. In 1998, Guillermo Luque was sentenced to 21 years in prison, and Luis Tula to 9. But the ruling came far too late. For María Soledad's family, justice was not about closure. It was an endless battle against a system that prolonged their suffering. Justice delayed is not justice. It is a slow and calculated torment disguised as due process, a tactic used to wear victims down until they no longer have the strength to fight. For years, María Soledad's family endured the cold indifference of a system more concerned with shielding perpetrators than providing real justice. The pain wasn't just in losing María Soledad. It was in every legal delay, every appeal that reopened the wound, every ruling that arrived late and felt like too little too late. Finally, in 2016, both men were released. Today, Luque leads a normal life, as if the crime never happened. Tula has even tried to re-enter public life, free from the weight of his past or any real consequences for his actions. Meanwhile, María Soledad's family is left with the absence, the grief, and the certainty that impunity is still the norm in Argentina. María Soledad's murder was not an isolated case. It revealed how power operated in 1990s Argentina, where impunity was not an exception but the rule. Back then, the term femicide didn't even exist in the penal code. Crimes against women were treated as common homicides, without considering the gender-based violence behind them. They were dismissed as crimes of passion, as if murder was an act of uncontrollable love rather than the product of a system that normalized violence against women. Today, femicide is legally recognized, and while that doesn't guarantee justice, it at least prevents these crimes from being minimized. In the 1990s, the men responsible for María Soledad's death received limited sentences. Not because the crime wasn't brutal, but because the system was not equipped to call it what it truly was. Had femicide been a legal concept at the time, their punishment would have been different, and impunity much harder to obtain. Still, impunity persists. A word in the penal code is not enough when the judicial system continues to delay trials, grant loopholes to offenders, and treat victims like mere numbers. The fight against femicide is far from over. And yet, some argue that this legal term should be erased, as if calling things by their name was unnecessary. What remains clear is that what is not named is not seen, and what is not seen continues to happen. Argentina cannot afford to erase femicide from the law, because doing so wouldn't stop these crimes. It would only push them back into the shadows, as they were in the 1990s. Maria Soledad's murder was a turning point. Society realized that impunity was not an accident. It was a pattern. And although the laws have changed, justice still arrives late, if it arrives at all. Remembering is not enough. We must continue questioning. Do you believe justice has truly changed? Leave your thoughts in the comments and join the conversation. If these stories speak to you, subscribe to Argentina Crime Files to keep uncovering the truth behind each case. Because sometimes, remembering is the only way to seek justice.